We're joined now by one of Donald Trump's attorneys, Jim Trusty. Jim, thank you for joining us this morning. What exactly did you learn from the special counsel?
Well, we learned that this special counsel was hell-bent on criminalizing something that I really don't think has a criminal basis under the Presidential Records Act. So we now have a summons to appear Tuesday afternoon at 3 o'clock. It has at least a summary of the types of charges we expect to see in the indictment. And it puts a stamp of reality on something that really is unreal in terms of the weaponization of a Department of Justice.
I know you're going to use that phrase, weaponization of Department of Justice, but it's not just the Presidential Records Act. It's reportedly the Espionage Act, much more seriously perhaps, obstruction of justice, false statements. Those are common crimes.
Yeah, all of which is predicated on the idea that you can send a message from the White House to the archivist to DOJ to use a dispute, a regular dispute about documents in a former president's home and turn that into a criminal investigation and a criminal raid. So it all stems from the same initial corrupt and politicized source of weaponizing something that by statute is not a criminal offense.
I think there are countless examples of people who have been charged for similar crimes, but both sides should wait and see what is actually in the indictment. Meantime, what was President Trump's reaction last night?
Yeah, President Trump, this won't be a news flash. He's a pretty resilient guy. He's a pretty tough-hided person, so he's not, crumbling in fear or anything remotely like that. He's upset by the notion of this indictment. It's a different conversation when you have a client who's committed a crime and knows that they've done something and finally gotten caught. That's a pretty easy conversation, or a relatively easy conversation as an attorney. When you're actually innocent of the charges and know that this is weaponized and persecutorial, it's a different conversation. But what's interesting to me, just kind of stepping out of my role of the attorney and just talking about it kind of person to person, when I have this conversation with him, he very quickly pivots to concern about the country. It's not a real selfish analysis. This is a bad moment for our history. This is our country turning the corner. And as somebody that's been around criminal justice for over 30 years, I agree with him. It's a Rubicon we shouldn't be crossing.
But don't you believe in the principle that no person is above the law? If the president committed the same crime that someone else did, shouldn't he be charged?
No person is below the law. That's really the issue here. I mean, you've got these investigations in Delaware that are 1,000 times more serious by a sitting president who has authorized his DOJ to try to sink the candidacy of his prime opposition, while that guy has unsecured documents that he stole out of a skiff dozens of years ago. So, look, we're not talking about some sort of favoritism.
What are you talking about? That is a ridiculous statement.
There's this issue. Nice try. There's an issue that anyone that reads any newspapers would agree is a parallel track, which is the Delaware document scandal of Joe Biden, where there's a special counsel, Rob Hur, that's investigating it. You know that there were documents that were sensitive, that were marked classified, found in a garage near a Corvette, that made their way through Chinatown, through the Penn Biden Center. There's 1,850 boxes that have never been fully looked at University of Delaware. You have the ultimate unclean hands of a current sitting president who had no declassification, had none of the protections of President Trump, and who literally had to have stolen stuff from a skiff. Even Dick Durbin has commented about how this was an outrageous possession of classified material by Vice President at that point, Joe Biden. So that's what we're talking about. You can scoff and act like there's nothing to it, but the whole country knows the basic notion of unequal treatment and fairness, and that's what's at issue with this prosecution.
I think that is certainly what is at issue. We will see how it plays out, because I don't think you have the evidence to back up any of the charges you just made. Mr. Trusty, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.